So it says, what are some great herbs for stress relief tea? Well, for stress relief, I especially like our nervines. If we were in the UK, it would be nervines. So nervines are not sedatives. They are nerve tonics. They help to restore the emotional foundation. But we're talking about tea here. So not everything makes a great tea. One of my favorite nervines is fresh oat, but the eclectics were very clear that fresh oat loses most of its activity when it's dried. So that means you're going to make a tincture out of the fresh plant or a glycerate out of the fresh plant. And so once you've dried it, you've lost a lot of activity. So I'm not going to be using it in a tea form. So some of my favorite, and for tea herbs, one of the biggest challenges as a clinician is compliance. So if you have, you can tell patients all sorts of things, or clients, whichever you prefer. But if they don't do it, I can't tell you how many times people, say, well, what can I use for this? And I may say, well, try this, try that. And you see them 6 months later, a year later, oh, how's it going? Did you try that? Oh, yeah, I bought it, but it's, I haven't taken it. I have news for you. Herbs don't work very well unless you actually use them. So whether it's ingesting them, whether it's putting them topically, whatever you're doing with it, you actually have to use it. So nervines, if you want people to drink tea, there are people who will take anything, it's true. But mostly make sure it tastes good, because that helps prevent people from going, oh, I tried it, but it's just gross tasting. Most people, Elecampane, they think it tastes horrible. There's always one person in every group that says, oh, I love the taste of Elecampane, but that's almost pathological in itself. I'm joking, it's not. So nice tasting nervines, chamomile, linden flower, which tastes delicious, lemon balm. So a combination, equal parts of chamomile, linden flower, and lemon balm is a great base for helping to relieve stress. And then I would add to that two calming adaptogens. Some adaptogens are stimulating, some are calming, et cetera. There are different types of adaptogens. And so two calming adaptogens, and both of these fit into the category, they're not well-researched adaptogens. So the first one is a Chinese herb called jiaogulan, which is a Gynostema pentaphyllum, and it's easy to grow because many of your adaptogens, like a ginseng, they're not easy to grow. But jiaogulan, Gynostema, is really easy to grow. It's in the Cucurbitaceae family, the cucumber family. And if you're in the South, it stays green all year round. Here up north, it dies back, but comes back in the spring, and it can grow fast. There are two varieties. One is sweet with a bitter aftertaste, and one is bitter with a sweet aftertaste. And really depends on just how the level of bitterness. Personally, I think the bitter one with a sweet aftertaste is probably more medicinally active, but either one is going to work. And because of that sweetness, even though there's some bitterness there, that's actually nice in a tea. And again, it's a calming adaptogen, helps lower blood pressure, helps reduce anxiety. And of course, our nervines also have anxiolytic effects. And then I would add to that what I would call a probable adaptogen, meaning there's just not quite as much research on the well-researched adaptogens, of which there are only 8 or 9 of, and that would be holy basil. And holy basil is anxiolytic, it's antidepressant, it is, in my opinion, more than likely an adaptogen, and it tastes good. And so a combination of these 5 herbs, probably about equal parts, you can make it into a hot tea and drink it hot, you could ice it, and it would be delicious. And if somebody's like, I want a little more flavor, you could add a pinch of cinnamon, or you could add a little bit of ginger. They won't take away from its effect. They just might add a little bit more flavor. So that's my answer to the next question.